We know that being a geek isn't just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. Join us as we invite special guests to share their love for the characters and worlds that shaped them. Are you ready? It's time to let your geek side show.
On this episode of Look Who Showed Up, we sat down with prolific MoCap, voice actor, martial artist, and stuntman TJ Storm. Listen along as he talks about his work as the man behind the movements of incredible CGI characters like Godzilla, Colossus from Deadpool, and others from the worlds of Devil May Cry, Street Fighter, Avatar, and more.
I'm Robin, and we have an awesome guest this segment. He's an actor, a voice actor, a motion capture performer, and he is a martial artist. His name is TJ Storm. Everybody give me a loud round of applause. Everybody at home, give him a round of applause because he has a massive resume. And you got so many things on your resume that I had to get the guys to put an iPad here so I can just get everything correct. So we've seen you in film. Mm-hmm. We've heard you in video games. Yes. You're in almost 100 video game projects from what I see.
Tons.
And you have a lot of motion capture performances in huge films. So some of your performances on camera as you, but as another character. You were in Predator. Mm-hmm. And Once Upon a Time in China and America, mm-hmm. You were in the Conan TV series.
Yes.
Nice. And Martial Law?
Yes.
And Kickboxer
Vengeance.
Vengeance.
Kickboxer Vengeance. Nice. That was fun.
That
was really fun. You get to the cool thing about shooting live stuff is that you get to travel to usually very different foreign places and experience their culture as well as get to shoot and work with amazing people. And so everywhere from the Philippines to Romania to Europe, I've gotten to shoot Czechoslovakia, some really amazing places.
So you have some stamps in your passport.
Yes, and that's some of the best stuff. To get to go to those places and experience all of that, it's really cool.
I have one lonely stamp, well actually two. I had one lonely stamp in my passport because I went out of the country at one point, and I went through customs and the guy didn't stamp my passport. And I went back, I was like, please stamp.
Yeah.
You have to show that I was here. And
Where was it?
I went to France.
Cool.
And he was so annoyed that he took the stamp and stamped 3 pages. So I thought I would have one stamp after another.
That's awesome though.
It was amazing. So
I've never been to France. So I think I'm gonna go next month, and we're gonna go play Dungeons and Dragons there.
Nice.
It'll be really cool.
That's the place to do it, right?
I guess so. We'll find out.
Right.
It'll be interesting. I can't wait.
That's exciting. It seems like you've been to many different places, shooting all the projects that you've been working on, but you also have an extensive library of voice work.
Yes.
And in video games.
Yes.
In big franchises. And one of them is Halo Wars, and I have to do full disclosure, my kid is a Halo freak. So I'm always hearing combat from upstairs because he has the speakers hiked really high. That's awesome. So I probably am hearing you yell at him at some point during the game. So that's pretty cool.
Yes, we play in Halo Wars. We're brutes, so we're these 9 feet tall, super muscular monsters.
He's constantly
like this, and they're
exactly.
Yeah,
yes, you were upstairs in my house.
Yes.
Now you've also not only been in the Halo Wars, you've been in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, mm-hmm. and you've been in Street Fighter 5, and Tomb Raider, and Devil May Cry 4, and Army of 2, and Resident Evil 6. You've been in huge franchises. Yeah. What's some of the memorable characters? Well, one of your memorable characters. You have a lot.
They're all so different. I was Strider Hiryu in one, so I am talking like this most of the time. And then other times I'm talking like this, and it's always different. When you're Birdie and you're doing Cockney, nobody expects the guy speaking Cockney to look like me when they come around the corner. So it's really fun, but it's really trippy too. And I heard it one time. I heard somebody watching YouTube, and I was like, that sounds really familiar. And I looked over their shoulder, and I was doing a promo for something for Street Fighter, and it was Birdie, but it's Birdie here, and they did a split screen with me on the microphone, and
you're like, that's me.
I'm like,
that's me.
Oh yeah,
that's me.
That's cool. But it's so weird to hear it and see it at the same time.
Right.
You know how you hear your voice and you're like, is that me?
Yeah.
When you're doing a completely different dialect or a completely different accent, it's really weird.
It is, because we have one, I'm going to point off camera. One of the Brit, we have we have one of our members of our crew has a very lovely accent, and sometimes when I'm talking to him, I slip into his accent. And then he thinks I'm making fun of him, but I'm like, I can't help it.
But you just do it. That's how you learn, though, and it's kind of cool. That's how I learned several of I worked on a movie called The Punisher Warzone, and at the same time we were shooting Avatar at the time. So the guy who was running the stage, it was motion capture on Avatar. The guy who was running the stage, I think his name was Richie, and what was his accent? Oh, he talked like this, I think. Yeah, and he had an Irish accent. So he was talking, and I was like, first, say green clovers. And he's like, get away from me. But I started to learn from him because I played a character named McGinty who is Irish on The Punisher.
Nice.
And I really have to focus on it because as soon as I lose focus, my Irish becomes Jamaican somehow. It gets this weird rhythm and it's just like, what? Did you say you're Irish? I'm like, no, man. I mean, no. So it sounds, you go all over the place when you get distracted really, really easily unless you practice a lot. And I don't practice enough to just be able to ring it up, but it is fun. It's really, really fun being able to switch all of those. And it helps when we're playing, role-playing games as well. I'm usually the dungeon master or the game master, so to be able to play this for my friends when they're meeting different characters, they're like...
You can switch voices on them.
Switch, and they're like... Oh.
Does that freak them out?
A little bit, yeah. And it keeps them off balance a little bit.
Right.
They walk into a shopkeeper's place and the shopkeeper's like, what do you want? And they're like, you want to buy a potion? Yeah. What kind of potion do you want? And they're like, I don't know. I just forgot what I want, man. I go outside. And so you just play and you in all the bad guys and all the good guys. They all have different voices and it's fun.
Now, do you have a regular group that you play with?
We have 3 right now. We have 3 games a week when I'm not shooting. And so they're 3 different groups.
But now, now that they've experienced playing with you, do they expect you to bring the voices? They expect it now. Like you're gonna.
They know what's coming because I just do it because it's fun. You're doing it with your friends, and fortunately, I have forgiving friends because I gotta try new dialects sometimes because I know that I have a character coming up and I haven't learned it. So if I'm trying to do South African, they are suffering because I am like, you must hear me when I talk like this. And like, what is that, German? I'm like
not
good. German. It's supposed to be African. They're like, I don't think so, bro. So it's really bad.
That wasn't a good one, right?
It was, yeah.
So at least you get feedback.
Yes.
You get
immediate
harsh feedback, even though they may not be kind.
Yes, but it's okay. I need that to get on my game. Right. And it helps. And after a while, you start to get it.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we haven't discussed yet your motion capture performances.
Those are fun.
So those are fun. Yeah. Gosh, I can only imagine. You've been in Avatar. Mm-hmm. And tell us what you played in Avatar.
I play the amp suit that the general crawls into, and then he turns around and he fights the hero. Oh, nice. So when the general's fighting the hero at the end of the movie, that big thing moving around is me doing a lot of that motion.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's really fun. And for those of you who don't necessarily know what motion capture is, can I tell them?
Yeah.
Explain it?
Please.
So motion capture is basically digital makeup and digital wardrobe. We put on a very, very tight suit with little white markers, and then we go into a room filled with 100 or 200 cameras. Those cameras flood the room with infrared light, and that infrared light bounces off the little white markers and goes back to the special cameras and feeds it into the computer. And in the computer, hundreds of digital artists make us look like whatever they want. So we provide the movement, and then they provide our skin and our bones. And together we create a character that looks really, really cool. It's amazing. So if I'm standing there and I bend forward and they throw Godzilla skin on me, it's good to go. If I stand up and widen out my shoulders a little bit, now I'm Colossus. And they can just change it around and they build special models and special rigs, and I learn how to move for each one and work with the directors and hopefully give them what they want.
Now, also, as we go through the interview, we'll probably shorten that down to MoCap. So if we get all excited and geeky and we start talking about MoCap, we're talking about motion capture.
Yes, motion capture, also called MoCap, also called performance capture. There's a slight difference between motion capture and performance capture. Motion capture is the technology. Performance capture is what the artists, the performance artists, the actors do inside the motion capture
motion
volume.
capture.
Yeah.
Perfect.
MoCap.
All right. Now, you mentioned Colossus. So one of the other films that you appear in is in Deadpool.
Yeah.
And you are Colossus.
Yes.
And for me, Deadpool was one of my films. That was my nerdy film. I love the freeway scene where
Yes.
Deadpool is trying to fight Colossus, and obviously he's just busting up his limbs, and then you just reach down and grab him and drag him off.
That's awesome.
So tell us more about
The process?
the process and just that shoot. Like, how was it working with the actors on that film and in that process of
Sure.
that character? He's a pretty famous character.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think Ryan Reynolds really pushed it through to make it happen. So kudos to him for making Deadpool happen, because it's his passion, and you can tell his passion helped make it come together. And then along with Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, those two made an awesome team, and they banged out an amazing movie. That said, when they shot the scene for the highway scene for Colossus and Deadpool meeting and the big fight, I want to say that was in Canada, and I was never there. I never was at that. There's a tall actor named Andre, and he stood there as the eye line and the original model for Colossus, because he's the right size. He wore shoes this thick, and he's standing there, and he's looking, and they're talking to him. Then they shoot the entire scene. Has no special effects on it yet. Then they bring it back to LA. Then they look at it, and they're like, all right, we need Colossus to have some particular emotions, some particular events to happen. So they go back in to a studio here in Los Angeles. We shot it in Marina Del Rey, and we reshoot the scene. They show me the entire scene. They're like, we're gonna put your performance right here. So the eye lines are already there. So you need to look here because he's talking to you.
And he's tiny.
Yep,
and
yep.
You're a tall
I'm like
character.
7 feet tall.
Nice.
And then I begin to move, and I look at him, and then we do all of the stuff. And
Sorry, I'm geeking out.
and then, then another amazing guy at a place called Digital Domain did some of the face stuff, and they slapped some of his face emotions on my body movement, and they composited it all together. So it's not me all by myself, but I did a huge portion of the acting beats for Colossus.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And are there some characters where they're actually taking your facial expressions
Absolutely,
as well?
yeah. Tons of games will have this helmet, and then we'll have these mandibles that come out with little cameras that face back at your face, and it captures everything that you're doing. And we do that for tons of games. Most of the time I have cameras in my face. And you can't hug somebody because these mandibles come out like this, and you can't even drink anything because you'll bump into everything, or pretend to drink anything. So you have to be really, really careful. You can't do that because it wipes off all the dots on your face and all of that. But yeah, we get to do it all the time, and it's really fun. It's really kind of cool.
Nice. Now, there was another one that I'm going to bring up in your resume because I uncovered it. You were your performance work was in Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
So you were a performer for an Avenger.
Yes, a couple of Avengers, actually.
A couple.
Oh yeah.
I heard one.
Oh,
but
in that movie.
tell.
But
Which ones?
for the Avengers, I have some weird stories. But I've been Baby Groot.
No, we like weird stories.
It's fun. It's fun. I've been Baby Groot, Teenage Groot, Rocket Raccoon. The one you're talking about is Iron Man.
Yes,
in Captain America
Civil War.
And in one single shot, it's a very small shot, very quick, but they were looking at the board. We're doing all the Iron Man stuff, so I was doing all of this and doing all the fighting. And keep in mind, they've already shot most of it. The stuntmen were there, the stuntmen did all the shots, but they want to tweak a lot of the stuff. So they're like, we need this, we need that, go ahead and do this, shoot a beam at his shield, and it'll blast up into the air.
Nice.
So we did a lot of that stuff. For whatever reason, they wanted it slightly different, so we did it. And they're like, we have one more shot. Could you just... You see, the Avengers are talking in a group, and one of the Avengers needs to walk up and enter the group. We forgot to get that shot, so we're going to just digitize it. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. Let's do it. Yeah, that's Black Widow. I'm like, what?
Can you sway your hips a bit?
Don't watch it closely. Don't watch the scene closely. It's not pretty. I'm not proud of it. But no, it's it's a really, really quick shot, but they got it. They tossed it in. But yeah, I've been really, really lucky to play some really awesome characters,
Right.
especially in the Marvel Universe.
And the most recent one, and I geeked out on him a little bit like 2 minutes before we went on air. I was like, brace yourself, because you were Godzilla in Godzilla King of the Monsters. That is out in theaters now. So I just saw that over the weekend. I am on a kaiju high, and you confirmed, and I said, does he know what he's walking into? Because I am the biggest geek ever for Godzilla. And yeah, so I warned you, and this is where we start talking about Godzilla too. And thank you so much for joining us, because I know the movie is just out and you're super busy. So I appreciate you coming in and answering these questions for us and taking the time. But how exciting is that to have that kind of caliber of a character, and you're like the guy, you're the feature character in this movie.
Awesome. I mean, this year I've been exceptionally fortunate. I have 3 massive characters, and I thought the year was going to be cool. We started with the Predator. In the Predator, I'm the apex predator. I'm the really big one, the 11-foot tall one.
The only one that counts.
Yes, but that was awesome. Under director Shane Black, that's amazing. And then, of course, Godzilla, and then we ended with Darth Vader in Vader Immortal. And I have been...
You were Vader. Wow.
But that's what I was like. So in every case...
Vader, like...
In every
how
case...
does that, like, you go... I'm
You
Vader.
just-
I'm officially Vader.
I have a friend, his name is Garrett Warren. He does action. He did the action for Avatar. He did the action for Godzilla 2014. And he said, do you have anybody who does beast stuff? Because I was working on a lot of stuff at the time. I'm like, yeah. And I gave him some names and I forgot about it. Then a couple of weeks later, he calls, he goes, hey, could you come down and work on some beast stuff with us? And he kind of said it like that. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Now, I have a performance school. It's called the Mind's Eye Tribe. And we teach people how to move like creatures. So,
and where do we go and find out more information about the Mind's Eye Tribe?
Mind'sEyeTribe.com.
There should be some URLs down here.
Mind'sEyeTribe.com.
Nice.
Ding. But
so you have performance.
But we teach people
school?
how to move like creatures, how to use swords, how to use tactical weapons. We teach them how to perform and be prepared for video games and movies and stuff like that, because actors don't always know how to perform that kind of action properly. So they have a less chance in an audition, and they mess up their performances, and they have to be doubled by stunt people, which is totally fine. But if they want to have a slightly better chance in an audition, for instance, we help them with that and stuff like that. So I thought he was calling me down to help the actors that he'd hired for this job, whatever job it was, because I didn't know what it was.
Very mysterious.
Yeah, I thought we were going to help them get their movement on point. So I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'll see you in the morning. So I went down there, and there's only 3 of us standing on a huge stage here in the valley. And
you're like, where is everybody?
And I was like, what time are the actors showing up? They're like, yeah, whatever. You're Muto 1, you're Muto 2, and you're Godzilla. And I was like,
Yes!
It was awesome! It was amazing. So I fought with the Mutos. They kicked me for 2 days straight, but it was awesome! And we shot it, and it was amazing. And then we went on to Godzilla King of the Monsters, and that was a whole nother event. But it's amazing to, enter the legacy of Godzilla. There's 7 or 8 guys who brought Godzilla to life from the very beginning till now, and I get to be one of them. And I think I'm the first American Godzilla, which is awesome. It's huge. It's not a small thing. So I totally honor and respect the chance to get to be Godzilla, because the very first movie my dad ever took me to was a movie called Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. It's the very first movie that I ever remember seeing. Yes, it was awesome.
Nice.
And it was also terrifying. I was very small. And the Smog Monster was a terrifying creature. He would fly over the city, and wherever he flew, dead bodies were all twisted up. I was like, and then at the end of the movie, Godzilla tears him apart. I was like, yes. And I was just like, whoa, this is it's him! And my head almost exploded. It was really, really cool. So to be able to step into that also is awesome.
Now, did it hit you later on, like when you saw it released on film? You're like, I'm Godzilla. I am Godzilla. Like,
it was awesome. I do remember in the first shoot in Godzilla 2014, we were trying to figure out how to kill the last Muto, and we were all throwing around ideas. Everybody was throwing ideas, and they're like, okay, we'll just shoot a bunch of them and let the studio pick which one it is.
Right.
We didn't know, so everybody tossed in ideas, and one of the guys, somebody had brought a Barney costume for reference, and I saw the costume in the morning, and I'm like, that costume, I'm not wearing that. There's no way I'm putting that Barney mask on my head. And it didn't fit anyway, my hair, too much hair. So the other guy was wearing it, and he was playing with it, and he was holding it by the jaw and flicking it around. I'm like, oh, what happens if I open his jaws like this and I blow fire down?
I was gonna ask you that with the choreography.
Yeah.
How collaborative was it? Like
it totally.
So that whole thing, that signature move in 2014,
that one idea, I was like, could I blow fire? And they're like, sure, we'll shoot that.
That is an awesome move.
Because it doesn't look like that when we're doing it. Remember, I'm sitting there holding a Barney
costume.
It looks like I'm vomiting into a Barney mask. So,
and of course, that's also a good, vomit into the Barney
yes.
costume. I'm sure every parent wants to do that.
But that's what happened. The Muto guy, he was on crutches so he could lean forward and move like a spider.
Right.
And I will never forget that I grabbed his head and I pulled the Barney jaws apart.
Right.
And he arched his back to make it look painful. And I pulled the jaws apart. I'm going to show you. And
wait, he's getting up.
yeah, and I pulled the jaws apart, and I'm like, and I roared down his throat, and the actor fell out of the bottom of the mask before I was done blowing. So I'm like, and now I'm just holding a head. I'm like,
what do I do now?
So I just dropped my arms, and I'm still in character, and I'm swinging back and forth.
Cool.
And I have his head in my hand. And I didn't know what to do with it, so I'm just like, I just threw it to the side, and Garrett starts yelling at me, "You're tired! Now you're exhausted, fall to the side." So I take a half a step, and I try to fall in slow motion, which is really difficult to do. And you forget about it, because that was one of several endings.
But that was the amazing, the blue fire, and it and jets it right down his throat and kills him, and I was like, yes!
When we went to the theater, I had forgotten that we shot it. And so two things surprised me. One, there was this sound that went
yeah,
and I saw this blue light, and I was like, what's that blue light? He's gonna do it! I'm talking about him like he's in third person, like I didn't do it.
Like you knew.
But I didn't have blue lights coming up my back. I didn't know that was happening. That was all the animators doing their magic.
I think that for me, when you have it, when it started his tail, I was yelling in the theater, and sorry, I apologize to my coworkers. I was like, yes, like it got higher, and my voice got higher.
That's what everybody did, including me.
He prized the drawers open,
and I was there when that happened, but it wasn't blue. So
it wasn't blue.
I saw it and I was screaming, but
they made your move look even cooler.
Oh,
right?
Man. It's a collaborative effort. It is collaborative. Yeah. And then when we saw the fire blow and his head came off and Godzilla throws it, and I was like, yes! That was awesome! Because you forget about it. That was 6 or 8 months ago, and we shot it, and we did several projects since then. Right. And you even forget, I was walking around like Godzilla. And we did the same for this one, for Godzilla King of the Monsters. Right?
Before we go any further, because I just admitted I saw it over the weekend, but some people have not seen it. So we're probably going to talk about spoilers, so sorry, but not sorry. You should have seen it already, and if you haven't, go see it. But we're going to talk about spoilers, so turn your volume down if you don't want to hear it. But you had some pretty amazing clashes in King of the Monsters, because you have quite a few monsters in that movie. In the script, they say there's like 17 or so of them, but they don't show you all 17, but they show you, they bring the monsters. Yeah. So you had a signature move in 2014. What was your signature move in King of the Monsters?
That's a good question. What is the signature move? I'll tell you what my favorite thing was. It wasn't my idea. It was Michael Dougherty. Michael Dougherty is the director. And the reason you got so many monsters doing so many cool things is Michael Dougherty. That's his thing. He loves monsters. He loves the genre.
Yes, you have to have monsters. You have to have lots of monsters fighting other monsters.
Yes. So thank you, Michael
Drawing
Dougherty.
in other monsters so they can fight more monsters.
Yes.
And literally the script is just a vehicle to get to the next fight of monsters. And I'm okay with that.
That is the fun of it.
Right.
And one of my favorite moments, and I knew it was one of my favorite moments when we were shooting it, is he says, okay, Mothra is over your right shoulder and she's just webbed their heads to the building, and there's a bunch of cardboard boxes. So they're leaning against the cardboard boxes, and I'm like, they webbed? So what do you want me to do?
She already took care of it.
You're going to charge them and grab them by the head and slam them. I'm like, yes! Because in 2014, I got my ass kicked hard, nonstop. I mean, the Mudos are pounding on me. It's 2-on-1, and I just got pounded.
With their little stabby arms.
Oh,
you know,
I got beaten up.
Arms.
I got tackled, stomped, flown over, thrown under, everything. This time, I finally get to tackle somebody. And I'm like, and he said, yeah, it's going to be a reflective building, and you're going to see a reflection as you get closer to them, and they can't get away. And I'm like,
yes.
So I got all super monstery, and I'm like, I'm coming. And they're like, oh, shit. And it was awesome.
And the guys just have to stand there.
They just have to stand there. I'm like, ah! So it was really, really, really fun. It was a blast. And that was one of my favorite moments. But all the monsters doing all the things. I'm like a kid when I watch it again. I absolutely love being a part of it. And I don't know which is more fun. Doing it, which I get paid for. And that's cool. But
and that's a cool thing.
Also going to watch the stuff. I love the Marvel movies. I love the Monsterverse. I love Star Wars stuff. I'm a fan of it. So it makes it like it's not even work. And for a lot of people, it's not. I mean, there's people that mine coal and do stuff that is super hard. And that's awesome. But I get to fight monsters and be monsters and swing lightsabers and stuff.
Also, we didn't touch upon you're proficient in many different forms of martial arts. Yeah. And you were featured alongside Jet Li.
Yes, I got to fight Jet Li in Once Upon a Time in China and America.
How cool is that, being a martial artist and being able to...
Well, my mom put me in karate when I was very young, and I didn't want to be there because they hit you and you get bruised. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm done. She's like, oh, no, you're not. And she made me go back in, and she would not let me quit. In fact, to make sure that I didn't sneak out, she started taking karate with me. And I was a blue belt, and she was down there at the white belts.
Oh, she
was
brought the
looking
rain,
at me,
man.
and I'm
She
like,
was serious.
But because I had to stay, because I had to practice, it was like magic. I got better.
Right.
And a little bit at a time, I started to appreciate what the simple thing of practice does. You just get better. It's like, you don't even have to try, except you just got to practice a little bit. And I got better, and then I started staying on my own because I started teaching people, and I just grew from that.
How do you find that experience has helped you transfer over into performance, the performance capture?
It sounds like it's a secret. The secret. This is the secret. Practice more than everybody else, and you'll be better than everybody else. It's that easy. It's really, that's kind of it. People hard. Think, oh, genetics and magic, and you practice. If you work hard, you have an excellent chance of increasing everything that you do in that one area. And that's kind of what I did. Because I didn't really have anything else. I was a kid. What else did I got to do? I went to the beach, and then, because I grew up in Hawaii, I went to the beach, and then I'd practice.
The beach in Hawaii.
Yeah. Right. And that was kind of it. And as a result, I got okay at doing martial arts, and I loved it after a while, and it gave me the discipline and the focus. It allowed me to harmonize mind, body, and spirit. When I was doing the thing, I learned how to focus on doing one thing, because that's kind of the thing of karate, at least. Right. And then I started learning other martial arts. I learned kung fu and taekwondo, ninjutsu, jujitsu. I studied capoeira. I did all kinds of martial arts just to understand how they were different And as a result, I learned different philosophies, different cultures, and it was
body movements.
Yeah.
Each one has its own form.
Absolutely. And they inform a lot of my movement for a lot of the characters that I do. So a lot of the heroes, a lot of the warriors, whether they're good guys or bad guys, they all move from a lot of that, what I've learned from martial arts. And now I've been so fortunate. I've been inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Fame several times. And I continue to study when I can, and I continue to teach when I can. And we do that at Mind's Eye Tribe as well.
Wonderful. And we've given you guys the link to Mind's Eye Tribe, so make sure you check out the more information there. We do have some fan questions for you.
Okay.
And some interesting ones. Thank you guys for submitting those. If you could have Godzilla battle any creature, who would you choose him to fight?
Galactus, next.
Do you have an all-time favorite character that you haven't played in performance capture that you want to play? It's on your list.
Galactus, next.
I'm sensing a pattern.
No, I would love to be Silver Surfer. My friend Doug Jones got to be Silver Surfer.
Yes.
And I was like,
He's amazing.
oh, dude, you lucky bastard. It's so cool. And my other friend, he got to do the stunt version of Silver Surfer. So when he's doing all of the hard surfing stuff on the raised platform and all of that, he did all the stunt version, and Doug did the amazing acting version. But growing up, that was one of my favorite characters in the books. So I would love that. But I mean, after Godzilla and the Predator,
Right.
and Darth Vader,
I'm an icon. I've played icons.
I can't be too picky anymore. I'm just like, now it's just
pure joy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
what can I do? But I love those characters. I love the idea of Galactus, and I don't know what it is about the Silver Surfer. He was just so chill, and you had to push him to the edge, and then finally he would go, okay, time, gloves come off now.
Time's
and,
up.
and he would do so much cool stuff. But I don't know. I'm open to whatever. I get to do so many really cool things. I'm really, really happy that I've gotten to do the stuff that I've gotten to do already. So I hope I keep getting to do more.
Great. Now, this is not my question. They want me to ask TJ about your motion capture suit. And was it itchy, and how did you pee? Again, that's not mine. Thank you so much for making me ask him those uncomfortable questions. Appreciate it.
You're like Barbara Walters. This is tough, man.
Gonna make you cry. Make you cry.
The suits are intentionally very, very tight suits. Mainly because the technology of motion capture is all based on mathematics. So there can't be any fluctuation in measurements. So the suits are tight. So once they're on, they're locked into position. That way the markers don't move and jiggle around.
Right.
They can't be baggy. Otherwise the markers will be over here. That way the model doesn't look like it's this way all of a sudden when you're performing. So they keep the suits very, very tight on purpose.
So
you can't touch the cameras either. You can't even go near them.
I
otherwise
assume
they
you're
start
not going to
blinking.
be drinking a 22-ounce soda before you're getting in that suit, right?
That is one of the first things we tell our students at our motion capture
Dehydrate.
performance.
Dehydrate.
No, actually, it's the same thing. Once I tell them, go to the bathroom before you get in your suit, mainly because there is a zipper, but if you have to take the pants down, now the measurements, all the markers are off a little bit when you put them back up. And sometimes they have to recalibrate. So if you want to avoid that, if you're on a tight shooting schedule, go to the bathroom before you get in the suit and you're good to go. But otherwise, yes, you can go to the bathroom in the suit. But when you
Not
come
in the
back,
suit.
you're going to be all, yeah, that could look a
We
little
are not
weird.
going to the bathroom in the suit. We're going to go take the suit somewhere to a private place.
Yes.
Do your business.
Yes.
Thank you for you asking that question. We have one more for you, and this one's pretty cool. Do you have a secret signature move that you did as Iron Man while you were in Civil War? Like, if we go back and I guess they're looking to go back and watch the film and go, that's TJ. Do you remember, like?
I did a lot of stuff. When my little section of Civil War starts when the elevator opens and Iron Man walks out of the elevator and sees Captain America and Bucky. And I remember that I'm like, wait, Robert Downey Jr.'s face is there. How? It's not Iron Man, it's Robert Downey Jr. They're like, yeah, but he's only wearing a piece of the suit, so he's a little too fluid.
Right.
So we need the more rigid walk. And I'm like, how are you going to do that? He goes, no, we're just going to take his face and put it on your body. I was like, you can do that? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Magic. Magic.
So
That's
thing
awesome.
comes up, the shell goes back, and he goes, hey, Manchurian Candidate. And he says something like that, and that starts parts of it, because it's not all me, but they keep doing all that. When they're shooting the shield and it goes against with the laser, all of that, I redid that when he falls and he rolls down and he picks somebody up. I picked up I think it was a bag of gear, and I think I'm picking up Captain America or Bucky, and I'm going to break his back or throw him or something like that.
Wow, okay.
All these little things. I remember doing them, and there was lots of little stuff. My foot rocket gets blasted, and I'm like trying to keep
That was
balance.
you! That was
little
you!
things like that.
I remember that.
We redid it.
Sorry, I'm geeking out.
So much
That
fun
was
stuff.
you!
And there's a little
Cool.
part of the fight when you watch them fighting 2-on-1. We redid a little bit of that for some reason. I don't know why.
Right.
But yeah, little stuff like that.
How awesome.
That's so
How
fun.
awesome.
It's so
and
cool.
I'm such a geek on the Avengers stuff and the Godzilla stuff. I tried to convince the crew here to help me build a cardboard set, a city set. So when you came in, you could just go vroom, 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 and crush it like Godzilla.
That is
But
exactly how I do it.
I refrained. I'm sorry, I refrained. But I was that crazy.
It's so fun.
I'm glad that
That is exactly what we did, by the way.
Yeah.
Cardboard boxes.
I knew it.
Crunch.
I was right. We should have built it. We should have had him recreate stuff.
So fun. It's
But
really fun.
I am so thrilled to be able to get a chat with you and get some behind the scenes fun stories and to allow us to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming in. I know that this is the release week of Godzilla King of Monsters and you're so super busy. So thank you so much for
thanks for having
cutting
me.
us some time. I appreciate it.
I get to be with all of the monsters and all of the heroes. Look at this! This place is awesome! There's surrounded by the Court of the Dead, Thanos' thing over here, half the Marvel Universe,
I know.
half the DC Universe. This place is magic. This is awesome.
Awesome.
Sideshow is awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you haven't gone out to see Godzilla King of Monsters, I highly recommend it. It's a great monster versus monster popcorn summer movie. You need to see it on the big screen with the booming sound. I give it 2 thumbs up. TJ gives it 2 thumbs up. So please go ahead and see it. Thank you so much for joining us at Sideshow Live with TJ. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you as well.
Do you enjoy Look Who Showed Up? We are proud to bring you pop culture content completely ad-free, but that doesn't mean we don't need your support to help keep us going. Please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform and help us spread the word about our podcast. We welcome fan feedback. Email us at podcasts@sideshow.com with your thoughts and suggestions for how we can make our shows even better. Plus, tune in for our full network of pop culture podcasts. See if your fan favorites make the cut in the Geek Culture Countdown, a bi-weekly podcast featuring pop culture top 10 lists. See your favorite characters and franchises evolve across 2 generations in the bi-weekly Then and Now podcast. Join comedian Jeff May and his special guests as they discuss anything and everything in Sideshow's Sideshow. Then get all the latest pop culture news with our daily briefing, a 2-minute breakdown of the biggest geek headlines perfect for your Alexa or Google News briefings. We wouldn't exist without your continued support. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to let your geek side show.